Well, some good news and some bad news. Well, maybe good news, I don't know, you decide. But let's get with the bad news first. 7 people died due to dengue fever. Bali Health Office suggests paid vaccinations. And the good news, maybe the good news, PHRI Bali, foreign tourist levy incentives must not increase tariffs. So stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Selamat malam. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is March 21st, but you'll be seeing this on March 22nd, 2025, and my name is Bruce. So the weather, of course, is a big issue because, well, we've got the extreme weather again. It is not getting any better, unfortunately. And so we're going to talk about that soon. Okay, and what is the weather like today? Well, the weather was really windy, no rain, but there are reports all over the island of trees falling down and buildings being destroyed and roads being blocked. And, well, we're back with extreme weather warnings again. And I'm not even going to talk about them today. There's just so many of them. And so if you're out, be careful. What about dengue fever? Let's get into that because dengue fever is a big thing and the cases have been going up and up. 7 people die due to dengue fever. Bali Health Office suggests paid vaccinations. Dengue hemorrhagic fever, DHF, cases in Bali are increasingly concerning. The Bali Provincial Health Service stated that from January to March 19th, dengue fever cases in Bali reached 4,000 cases, a little over 4,000. Head of Bali Provincial Health Service, Dr. Asadoma, said that dengue fever cases reached 4,226 people, to be exact. The most cases were in Bulalang, oh no, with 900. Badung, 800, Gianyar, 600, and Denpasar City, 600. Other regencies weren't mentioned. Dr. Anam said, first, we have to continue to implement 3M Plus and continue to socialize it to the community. Besides that, for those who are able, please get the DHF vaccination. For those who are able, because you have to pay for it. We hope that in the future, the DHS vaccination program will become a national program so that it does not need to be paid. But for now, the most preventive thing to do is still 3M plus. And what is 3M? Cover, drain, recycle, and the plus is using mosquito lotion or a mosquito net when sleeping. Dengue fever vaccination is given twice at a price of $700,000. One vaccination is charged around $300,000 to $400,000 and depends on where you go. These days, it seems, there's a lot of vaccine around. The dengue vaccine is used for children aged 6 years and up for adults. It says to 45 years. I don't know why there's that cutoff there. The dengue vaccination can be obtained at hospitals and doctors' offices and clinics. I did a quick scan and found a clinic down in Denpasar, 400,000 for the shots for one shot. So I guess 800,000 for 2. The readiness of our health facilities is not like before when in the past it was overflowing even though the number of cases was high. DHF patients should no longer be piled up in one health facility, right? Because the dengue vaccine is spread out around the island. Now there are 83 hospitals that can accommodate DHF patients. So DHF patients should not be piled up in one hospital, he said. Meanwhile, the number of victims who died due to dengue fever in early 2025 was 7 people, some of whom were children and some were adults. The death of dengue fever patients is generally caused by late treatment, with patients coming to the hospital when they are already in shock. In the future, Anam hopes that during the rainy season, if you have a fever and have taken paracetamol, and still have a fever after 3 days, you should go to a health facility for a laboratory check to make sure that you don't have dengue. It needs to be treated, he said, if you've got it. If it's treated, it's guaranteed that you'll be cured. And vaccines are available for everybody. Tourists, expats, immigrants, and local people as well. And so, better safe than sorry. Meanwhile, the Deputy Governor of Bali, Nyoman Prasta, at the launch of Mosquito-Free, Healthy Family, and Dengue-Free program, said that he welcomed the efforts to reduce dengue fever cases in Bali. The deputy governor said in addition to one household, one mosquito larva control unit, other efforts to prevent dengue fever include increasing public awareness, not littering, and anticipating garbage pools in the gutters. I think there are many things we can convey as part of education, he added. Okay, so more cases, but less deaths, fortunately. And what about the famous tourist tax, right? The $150,000 you have to pay to come into Bali. PHRI, foreign tourist levy incentives must not increase tariffs. The Indonesian Hotel and Restaurants Association, PHRI, emphasized that the 3% incentive for parties who help implement the tourist levy must come from the 150,000 rupiah tariff without any additional cost for tourists. PHRI Bali Chairman Jakarta Oka Artha Ardana Sukawati emphasized that the 3% should not be charged back to the tourist. He said it's been confirmed by the tourist office that it is part of the 150,000. I agree with that. But if the 150,000 is increased by another 3%, I don't agree. It's going to be complicated, the former deputy governor said. He calculated that if tourists had to pay an additional 3%, that would be 154,500. So in my opinion, it's the same as PHR. There is a fee for collection fees that's taken at 10% from PHRI, and I want it to be the same. 3% is included in the 150,000. And so now we know where some of the money is going. 10% of that 150,000 is going to PHRI. What they do with it, I don't know. 10%, what is that? 15,000 rupees? That's not very much. But if you multiply it by millions, well, you got a little bit of money there. So the former deputy governor said that he'd received confirmation from the local government that this policy is still in process and awaiting approval from several parties. Of course, this will be a motivation for friends, especially those who collect, to get incentives. And so they've been trying to figure out, right, how to get more money because only about 35%, and we'll get to that in a minute, is paying. And so they're offering this 3%. It's kind of like a bounty to get the tourists to pay that 150,000. The deputy governor added that this policy would provide benefits for tourism actors involved in collecting the foreign tourist levy. The governor revealed that he had begun drafting changes to Regional Regulation Number 6 of 2023 concerning levies for foreign tourists for the protection of Balinese culture and the natural environment. According to him, the revision is necessary because obstacles were found in the implementation. This can be seen from the number of foreign visits in 2024, which is 6.3, but only 2.1 have paid, or around 33.5%, said the governor. He said changes to the regional regulation will include the use of levies to improve the quality of service and the implementation of Balinese cultural tourism. In addition, the government will also add regulations related to the incentives for parties who help collect fees from the tourists. So there's been a lot of talk about how to get more people to pay this, how to collect this money. But what hasn't there been a lot of talk about? How the money is being used. And as I've said many times, I don't speculate. Okay, and what about tourism numbers? Well, tourism numbers for foreigners, apparently a little sluggish, but big plans for domestic tourism to come as Eid is coming. Bali tourism sluggish ahead of Eid. Tourism office ensures domestic tourists will increase. Pak Pamayun said that the arrival of domestic tourists would peak again, especially after the Eid holiday. Pak Pamayun said for foreign tourists, this is indeed the low season. But he's optimistic that Bali is still the first choice for a wise Eid holiday. I am optimistic that we will get domestic tourists because after all, Bali is the first priority for domestic tourists. A little different than the report that I did the other day, which said that Bali is actually third on the list for domestic tourists at this time of the year. But numbers here, they vary from story to story and from authority to authority and from, well, who knows? Sometimes I think they just pull them out of the air. The Bali Tourism Office is targeting that the number of tourists coming to Bali may be higher during Eid 2024, an increase of maybe 10 to 15%, they said. Moreover, currently the land route to Bali has been opened from the Probolinggo toll road. And what is going on over in the east? Indonesia raises Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki alert status two highest. The Geological Agency of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources has raised the alert level of the mountain located in East Flores from level 3 to level 4 after a surge in volcanic activity over the past few days. Based on a comprehensive analysis and evaluation of visual and instrumental monitoring, it's revealed that the visual activity and seismicity of Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki has shown a significant surge, thus raising its activity level from 3 alert to 4 warning. During the monitoring period from March 13th to March 20th, an eruption column as high as 1,000 to 2,500 meters from the summit was observed. The main crater emitted white, gray, and black smoke with thin to thick intensities. Loud explosions from the eruption were heard as far as Larantuka and Malmer on the 20th, just yesterday. In addition, a significant increase in seismic activity of the volcano was recorded. During the monitoring period, there were 55 eruption earthquakes, 176 gustive earthquakes, 67 harmonic tremors, and 83 volcanic earthquakes. There were also microtremors with a dominant amplitude of 3.7 mm on March 19th, indicating movements from magma towards the surface. The Geological Agency recommends that residents and tourists refrain from activities within a 7 to 8 kilometer radius from the crater, especially in the southwest and northeast sectors. People are also advised to be vigilant against the potential for rain-induced lava floods in rivers originating from the mountain. The public is urged not to believe unsubstantiated information and to monitor official developments of what's happening through the Magma Indonesia website and official PVMBG social media. Coordination with the East Nusa Tenggara Disaster Management Agency and the local integrated post for disaster handling continues to ensure disaster mitigation readiness. So if you are out in that area, be careful. And one of my son-in-laws does a lot of work out in that area, so not good. Johni Asadoma says Komodo National Park entrance tickets for foreign tourists are too cheap. We want more money. Deputy Governor of East Nusa Tenggara assessed that the entrance ticket for the Komodo National Park is still too cheap. He said it's only $250,000 per person per day. And he said, we need to increase this a little. It could be $300,000, could be $500,000 even. The deputy governor said the rate of up to $500,000 for foreign tourists is reasonable. However, the plan to increase the rate needs to be discussed further with the relevant parties. He said it's not that expensive. We can still increase it a little bit. Not much, not up to millions. Just keep it into hundreds of thousands because all of us foreigners have tons of money. Throughout 2024, 334,206 tourists visited Komodo National Park, up from 300,488 the previous year. Of that number, visits were dominated by foreign tourists at 226,948, while domestic tourists, 107,258. From these tourist visits, the country received non-tax state revenue, PNBP, of more than 53 billion rupiahs. All this money goes to the Ministry of Forestry. So all this money that is coming in here being paid, well, that's going into the Ministry of Forestry, and it's not going into the local government. And so he wants to see some changes made so that the local government gets some of that money. It doesn't just go into Jakarta. He said his party is going to fight for this at the Ministry of Forestry. He said, we want to know how we can get profit sharing from all the money that's being collected. He added that the proposed scheme is to share a certain percentage of the proceeds from the tourist entry fee collection at Komodo National Park so the local government can benefit directly from the tourism sector. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Take care, and I will see you next time.